What's your reaction to the latest?
Well, it just gets worse and worse. It's at a point now where this can't go away. You've got 22 cases or 22 allegations against you. That is something that just cannot be ignored. I think Nike is taking the appropriate steps, because when you have these mountain of allegations levied by accusers in the direction of your client, then predictably so, these kind of actions are going to be taken by the corporations that you represent. And that's just that simple. We want to say that Deshaun Watson is innocent until proven guilty. That certainly needs to be said in the United States of America. It's also important to point out that, to my knowledge, none of these are criminal cases. All of these are civil. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Max, Charlie, but I believe all of them are civil. None of them.
He's been charged in any criminal case.
He has not been charged in any criminal case whatsoever. So that obviously raises a red flag, because if you've got these kind of allegations, this mountain of allegations against you, and not one single charge is a criminal charge, and the lawyer's already on the record talking about how they tried to negotiate a settlement, but Deshaun Watson refused it. I don't know if it was the lawyer or Deshaun Watson or both of them, but clearly it has been revealed publicly that they tried to reach a settlement and Deshaun Watson refused. And so we take all of those things into consideration. And again, you have to acknowledge it does not look good. You have to acknowledge it looks very, very bad. You have to acknowledge the fact that Nike and anybody else that Deshaun Watson endorses, if they were to drop their affiliation, their association with him, it's definitely apropos at this particular moment in time. How can you do business with a man that has 22 separate allegations of sexual misconduct in some variety levied against him? There's no way you can do business with that person from an advertising or a marketing perspective. The question is, what is the NFL going to do? Because the NFL has been conspicuously quiet in all of this. And even though, again, you're innocent until proven guilty, that has never stopped the NFL from acting before. If you sully or impugn the shield, that gives them cause to step in and say, okay, you might get your money, but we're going to put you on the commissioner's exempt list. Here's where it gets interesting before I hand this off to you, Max Kellerman. There is no evidence whatsoever that the lawyer, Mr. Busby, that represents a lot, if not all of these women, has colluded with the Houston Texans. I want to emphasize that there's no evidence whatsoever, even though there have been people that have thrown out those conspiracy theories. The attorney Busby categorically and emphatically denied such a thing. But in the same breath, there are two scenarios here that need to be thought about. Number one, if you're the Texans, you've been conspicuously quiet in all of this, number one. Number two, not only have you been conspicuously quiet, but this also works to your advantage, because what team can legitimately go out there and trade for Deshaun Watson at the time that this is all going down? The answer would be pretty much nobody. The flip side is that if Deshaun Watson is put on a commissioner's exempt list, where that works to his advantage is he doesn't want to play for the Texans anymore, according to him, but you still wanted to get paid. So you could be put on a commissioner's exempt list, still get paid, don't have to play for the Texans, while at the same time buying yourself additional time to prioritize getting these matters resolved. Because clearly playing football is going to be a very, very difficult thing for the Houston Texans or anybody, because Deshaun Watson cannot walk into a locker room right now and talk about football. Nobody will allow that. Any place he shows his face, the media is going to ask him about these allegations. And that's going to be all anybody wants to talk about. There's no way that he's going to get away with being inside of a locker room and not talking about these issues every single time he's in front of the media, which obviously would serve as a profound distraction to a football team.
So the Deshaun Watson story just keeps getting messier and messier. The number of lawsuits has reached 21, and that does not include the 22nd account that was anonymously given to Sports Illustrated over the last couple of days. Conversely, Deshaun Watson's attorney, Rusty Hardin, released 18 massage therapists' testimonials detailing positive encounters and professional encounters with Deshaun Watson. Here's a portion of the statement from Rusty Hardin. During the past 2 weeks, the law office of Rusty Hardin and Associates has received dozens of unsolicited phone calls, letters, emails, and text messages from professional massage therapists who have worked with Deshaun Watson. These women say they are deeply troubled by the accusations made against Deshaun and that these claims are wholly inconsistent with their experiences with him and who they believe him to be. All of them stated that Deshaun never made them feel uncomfortable or demanded anything outside the scope of a professional massage. None of them experienced any of the behavior alleged by anonymous plaintiffs in the numerous lawsuits filed by the same Houston attorney. Michael, go ahead. You start.
Mike, we talked with Charles Robinson yesterday about Deshaun Watson and just all the things that we don't know. And we can't paint one side as winning and one side as losing. It's just, these are two big-time attorneys in Houston who have done amazing things for their clients. I mean, Rusty Hardin, if you look at his list of clients and what his clients were accused of and what they were acquitted of, it's pretty impressive. Same thing with Tony Busby. But one thing I don't like about the trial, it's not even a trial yet. How about that? I even said trial, maybe because we were talking about Derek Chauvin.
You know what? But as a 40, I'm glad you said that because it's kind of accurate. It's kind of accurate.
Right.
It's
one thing I don't like about
this is now playing out in the court of public opinion.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're right.
And this is
you're
what,
right about that.
now generally, and I'm going to tell you, I don't like what Rusty Hardin is doing in this case, and I don't like what Tony Busby is doing. This is what attorneys generally say. If they have a case, he said, look, I would just hope that you would listen to all the evidence, that you don't jump to any conclusions. Don't worry about the court of public opinion. Forget about all the noise out there. Let's focus on the facts. And we're confident if you focus on the facts that my client will blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Except they're not doing that. You know, Tony Busby, you start off, we start off with this thing when it was one or two accusers going to Instagram. But Rusty Hardin has responded to everything that Tony Busby has done. And it's difficult to know what the real story is because you're getting some stories and then you're getting spin. And then you saw, you didn't read it there, but Tony Busby said he's now uncomfortable after saying that he was going to go to the Harris County Police and talk about this, and his clients were going to perhaps file something with the police department. Now he's uncomfortable doing this because Rusty Hardin's son is connected to the police department, right. Although he doesn't want to accuse the police department of doing anything under the table. I respect all police officers, but I'm now uncomfortable. So there's a lot of game playing happening here with both attorneys. And the real issue, you've said this beautifully many times, the real issue is we're talking about whether sexual assault happened or not. That's the story.
Yeah. Well, and there, we've been doing the wrong thing, which is centering the quarterback. Today was proof that Rusty Hardin and Deshaun's defense team realized that they can no longer afford to play this game by traditional rules. They have to play it on Tony Busby's terms, which is playing it out in the court of public opinion. All they did today was match the accusations with character witnesses. Because right now, just as the mounting quote-unquote evidence is simply accusations and nothing that the 21 suits and 22nd account in Sports Illustrated, nothing that they said proves anything, nor does the 18 positive experiences prove anything either. That's like saying, well, he ain't never been racist to me, so he can't be racist. Or he ain't never hit me, so he can't be violent. Like, it doesn't mean that nothing inappropriate happened. Just like the accusations don't mean that Deshaun Watson is absolutely guilty. So we're back to square one in that we don't know what we don't know. So it really comes down to, is this going to see a courtroom? Is there going to be discovery? How's this thing going to be settled? If he's guilty, is there going to be retribution and accountability? Meanwhile, of less importance is what's the league going to do when it comes to whether or not they feel like they need to intervene, sit him down, exempt list, suspension, so on and so forth. But ultimately, this really comes down to the truth. And if we could ever arrive at the truth, because if it's true, it's reprehensible, And it doesn't have to be 19 or 20. I'm sorry, 21 don't have to all be telling the truth. If it's 1 or 2, it's problematic.
Exactly.
If it's fabricated, my they should be held to pay just the same. So these 18 do not cancel out those 19 in any way other than if you're predisposed to believing that Deshaun is innocent, then those 18 will support your opinion. If you thought he was guilty, you got 22 on your side.